Good guys, this is Naros Anis, and Sarah will be doing our end of year live series of the character test series. So just bear with us. As you know, the bushfires and with all the smoke in the air, our lungs are kind of misfiring. But without any delay, straight to Sarah.
Hey everyone. Oh God. So, first of all, I want to address the bushfire issue. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there who have lost so much and who are in danger of losing things that matter to them and that are irreplaceable. I just want to remind people, if you go to an evacuation center, please register with the Red Cross as being safe, even if you think no one's looking for you. There could be someone out there panicking and trying to find out where you are. So go to the staff if you don't have internet and ask to register with the Red Cross. Secondly, if you choose to evacuate, make sure that you take your prescription medications and your prescriptions with you, and check that your neighbors do the same, particularly if your neighbors are elderly or disabled or chronically ill. Please just make sure everyone has everything they need before they get out, if you even have time. If you are in an evacuation center and you do have internet access, I've seen a number of tweets where people are looking for their elderly parents. So if you could just have a look on the New South Wales fire tag, and if you see someone is saying, have you seen my mother? Have you seen my uncle or whatever? Just have a look around your evacuation center and see if you can locate that person and help the families, reassure themselves. And most of all, just stay safe, stay together. Don't leave your pets behind if it's at all possible. I have fond memories from, I think it was 2014, of being in a station wagon with children, chooks that were unsecured, a dog, 2 cats, and a rabbit. So even if it feels impossible to take them, just give it a shot if you possibly can. And just remember, the most important thing is your own life, because that's the one thing we can't replace. That's the one thing that, insurance is not going to adequately cover. No disaster relief is going to replace the loss of a loved one. So, everyone, please just take care of yourselves and each other. I'm going to give you to Narose for a minute.
Thanks, Sarah. Thanks for being with us. As you know, we're doing it live without any editing. Just want to address the matter of the Serco official complaint, which we launched, and there's a video of that, which has gone viral. Just wanted to point out that complaint is ongoing and has been received by global feedback, so the matter remains under investigation. But just wish to point out, yes, there's a lot of anger in the community against the conduct of the Serco Guard, but this shouldn't mean that let's have an open season and vilify every single employee of Serco. That's not on. There are a lot of good people who do work for Serco. The issue we are trying to target is a systemic one. Unfortunately, these people are not hired to think. They're just hired to follow orders. Regarding what I touched, like a subject which is a little bit dear to my heart, which involves Sarah, regarding your Twitter exit. So, a lot of people have been asking, and, a lot of people have raised a valid question: why did Sarah left Twitter? And she just have a big heart and she doesn't want to say it out loud. And I'm just going to say why. The reason she left Twitter wasn't for some neo-Nazi or some bloody fascist person threatening her. It was some pretend left-wing so-called refugee advocates. I'm not going to name them. I know exactly who they are. They were trying to sabotage Sarah's good work. They were trying to vilify her. They were sending her threats. And mind you, these threats weren't coming from like far-right Nazis. These threats were coming from very well, famous on Twitter. We can only see them on Twitter. You'll never see them in real life because, 4 years of arbitrary detention, I've never seen any one of them ever doing even a single thing for the refugees. So they got jealous of Sarah, and they were trying to sabotage her work, trying to blackmail her, trying to exhort her, trying to like do all kinds of things to her. And Sarah is the kind of person who, look at us. I mean, we're normal people. We're not rich. We're like everyday people. Sarah like would go hungry herself to feed a refugee.
Okay, I just want to know my children always have food. Okay, okay. Yeah, no, really.
Over to you. Over to you.
Oh, you want to throw me under the bus like that? Okay. Well, I have obviously headphone issues again. Can you help me, please? Thank you so much. I obviously I'm not going to comment on what Rose just said, and I've chosen not to comment on it for a reason. It's not worth it for me. I guess one thing I'm really concerned about at the moment, that's specific to Rose is, I mean, it's no secret that IHMS provides below substandard healthcare in detention. Like, everybody knows it. No one leaves detention healthy for this exact reason. And after a few years of watching this with Serco, you can see the difference between just regular medical malpractice and targeted medical malpractice. And it's my firm belief that what I've seen since Rose came out as a whistleblower has been targeted. I've seen him denied life-saving medications. I've seen him denied life-saving medical equipment. I've been told, like, I'm not even allowed to purchase a nebulizer for him so that he can breathe, but he went 7 hours yesterday being refused one. Until can I say who helped us?
George, yeah.
Yeah, until George Newhouse took time out from his well-deserved holiday to send a strongly worded letter to IHMS, and then Rose was able to breathe finally. But it was a really tense 6 or 7 hours, and I was genuinely afraid. And that's not the first time. It won't be the last time. I can see exactly what they're trying to do to Rose. And we all know why. It's because he's telling the truth. He's exposing the criminal activity that's happening within the Australian immigration detention system. To the people out there who are very clearly trying to make attempts on Rose's life within the system, I have this to say to you. Take it down a notch, because Vladimir Putin has more subtlety than you. Like, it is so obvious and everyone's witnessing it. And nobody is above the law in this country, no matter what you think. Do you have anything else to say, Rose?
Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Just a couple of things I want to add, just to recap 2019. Bloody lost count of the years I've been in detention. Don't know what year I'm in detention. Anyways.
Oh, it's Rose's birthday in like a week from now. I'm just letting you know. So if you want to send him something through PayPal or subscribe to his Patreon so that we can make it a special birthday, I would personally really be grateful.
You can just donate to Red Cross for me. I'll be happy, because these people...
please send him money. He needs shoes. He does. He needs shoes.
Right, yeah. Getting back to the topic. 2019. So we had some massive. There has been massive coverage for cash for visas matter, and it has gone through Senate estimates. There's no need for me to repeat everything. It's all out there in the media and the Senate estimates. The point being, the cash for visas matter continues to go on. The corruption matter is flourishing. The people who can afford to pay bribes are getting out. Innocent people like us who can't afford a 50K bribe we have to just rot in detention indefinitely. Like, this is the bloody fourth Christmas, fourth New Year I'll be spending without my Australian partner, who is in Melbourne, who's got a disability, and for whom I was a full-time carer for. But I mean, this is I'm a political prisoner for this LNP government. Other thing I wish to point out is, as Sarah said, that, and as it was discussed in the Senate estimates, been subject of some solid victimization, which has been coming out of certain parts of Serco, DHI, and ABF, and they've been using like um, some detainee dogs to do their dirty work, and some keyboard warriors on Twitter, like some people who live in like rich houses, and literally all they've done in their life is probably like have a hashtag which went viral, and they reckon there's something special. Mate, I put my name, my picture, and I write from arbitrary detention from behind enemy lines. 4 years of arbitrary detention, you won't be able to survive 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, seriously, if you're going to come out and comment on this issue, if you have something to say to
Mm,
us, put your money where your mouth is.
mm.
Show your face, give your name, because we both do it, and that is the bare minimum that this discussion deserves.
Absolutely. And we should point out, like, people questioning, how I was assaulted under orders from DHI. They were like a tiny minority of one or two people. Oh, we want to know the other side of the story. I've got a question for you, like real talk. I mean, imagine if there people know who I'm talking about. Imagine being bashed, brutally bashed for being gay or queer or being from the LGBTIQ community and not getting justice, right? And having other people say, now hang on, we don't want to listen to you. Let me call Lyle Shelton and get his point of view, the other side of the story from Lyle Shelton. Doesn't
Well,
pass is the pub test.
I can give a personal example. My ex beat me really, really badly, and to this day, he still says that it was my fault, that I provoked him. And honestly, I mean, okay, sure, there's two sides to that story as well, but violence is never acceptable, ever, under any circumstances. And if you can't see that, you need to stay away from small children, animals, and, other vulnerable members of the general population.
Yeah, fair point. I mean, you shouldn't definitely be coming into contact with refugees if you reckon state-sanctioned violence is okay, or any kind of violence. I mean, which is targeted uh, to victimize, for example, violence on the basis of the religion, or violence on the basis of political opinion, or in my case, violence which was used against me on the basis of me being a whistleblower. So all these so-called pretend refugee advocates who you will only see on Twitter, like one or two, who will not see the other side of the story. There is no other side of the story. Imagine you being bashed by someone neo-Nazi and people saying, "No, we don't want to hear you. We want to call Lyle Shelton and we're gonna get his other side of the story about whether you should be gay or not." Just get guys, come on. I mean, the same.
Either you condone violence or you don't. That is the beginning and the end of the conversation. I don't think we need to get into too much detail.
No,
That's
absolutely.
literally just it.
This is the same kind of ideology, and the people who try to sabotage Sarah's work, I want to question my integrity. Mate, you got I mean, you won't be able to survive 4 seconds of what I've survived in arbitrary detention.
The reality is all violence, whether it's perpetrated by an individual or a government, it is all justified in the mind of the perpetrator. If you want to add to that justification, that's on your conscience, but really just keep it out of our sphere because we're not interested.
Thanks, Sarah. Other thing I wish to bring your attention to us is that we need a sense of community values. There were over 1,600 people in onshore detention, 1,600 people separated from their friends and families and loved ones, incarcerated in different concentration camps around Australia, who can't be with their families, right? They're suffering. Half the bloody Australia is on fire. And tonight, you want to go do fireworks and celebrate what? What exactly are we celebrating tonight? I don't get it.
There's nothing to celebrate. As a country, we've lost any moral compass that we could have ever hoped to have. I mean, this country's been inherently genocidal since 1788, since settlement. And there has not been a single decade, and I've looked, without state-sanctioned human rights abuses. So this is just the next chapter of a very, very long, dark history that Australia has. What is there to celebrate in that?
Absolutely. Also, as this year comes to a close, 2020, tomorrow we wake up. Just want to give a shout out to all the good people, my Twitter family, my very good Twitter family, my people who supported me, and they've been sending me messages of support like almost every day. Want to shout out to Jess. Want to shout out to Melissa, Amanda, Kate, Mel, Stephen, Michelle, and all the rest of my 2,000 plus followers. I absolutely love them, and each and one of you mean a lot to me. Sarah, over to you.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I get, I need help with this. Come on, this happens every time. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I guess I'm really concerned that as a nation, we talk about having community values and mateship, and I'm just not seeing it really anywhere. I'm seeing people being vilified because of their religion or their country of origin or their sexual orientation or, even their gender. I'm just seeing so much hatred in this country, and it's really interesting because I had to scroll through Twitter today, which I usually don't because I don't have an account anymore. But I was looking for updates on the fires, and I noticed that a lot of the right-wing public commentators that purvey so much of this hatred and divisiveness have not even commented about the fires. They're not retweeting people who are missing loved ones. They're not, giving people in evacuation tips and instructions. And it's just like we really need to make sure that in 2020 we try and build that sense of community and mateship that our country has been so famous for. Because without it, we're all just going to be lost. So please, I know that New Year's Eve is a really, really difficult time for some people. People who have lost loved ones, people who might be alone. If you know someone who's vulnerable, please give them a call, send them a message, check in on them, make sure they're okay. And let's have a much friendlier and much more loving 2020.
Thanks, guys. 2020, love is going to be a resistance against this fascist regime. So you just gotta show kindness. We gotta get our community values back, and we gotta fight this fascism. We gotta fight this hatred with love. So Godspeed. Love you all. We'll speak to you very soon. Thank you.